What's going on, Dolphins fans? It's Connor from the Dolphins Dive, and in today's video, we're going to be going over where Tua Tagovailoa ranks in the entire NFL. Now, I thought about doing a 1 through 32 list, but I felt like that could get a little boring and redundant, and I feel like this little kind of tier ranking video puts better perspective, and you don't necessarily have to nudge one over the other, although I will be doing that. Before I hop into the content, though, quick little plug to the merch shop, thedolphinsdive.com, where you can rep QB1 with this dope Tua Tagovailoa shirt. We got it on the site, thedolphinsdive.com. Link in the description. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into today's video. So I'm going to go in order. I'm not going to make it complicated. So as you guys can see, first person on the list is Patrick Mahomes, who obviously is S tier. He's the best quarterback in all football. I don't think that's up for debate. Now, next guy is very controversial for a lot of Dolphins fans, and Justin Herbert. But I'm going to be honest, I think Justin Herbert is a stud. He's a great player. Obviously, there's going to be endless comparisons to him and Tua just simply based off the way they were drafted. But I think he's a very good player, and I'm going to put him in A tier. Next is Jimmy Garoppolo, who I think he's not the best quarterback in the world, but he's very serviceable. He's not going to like miss layups, but he's not going to go out and necessarily win you games. I feel like that's a fair analysis. He's suffered a Liz Frank injury, so who knows how he'll do for the Raiders. I feel like that's quite redundant of the Raiders to do, though, getting rid of Derek Carr for Jimmy G. I feel like I'd rather Derek Carr, but I'm not going to shit on him too much. I'll honestly put him in B. I'll put him in C tier. This is tough because I'm trying to balance their career with their recent performance, and it's as tough as possible with Russell Wilson, who career-wise was one of the best quarterbacks in all football and just is coming off a very bad season. I'm not going to just... I feel like this was an outlier season. I do think Russell Wilson is one of the better quarterbacks in all football. I'm really right now debating where he goes in A or B tier. And I'm going to try and rank the tiers as well. So say there's multiple people in A, I'm going to try and have the person closest to A be the best. I'm tempted to put Russell Wilson in A tier. I really am. But for the sake of recency bias, I'm going to put him in B tier. With that said, I really think he could get put in A tier, but I'm going to try and keep it a balance. Next up is Trevor Lawrence, who's coming off a very good sophomore season. And once again, I think he's a very good player. If my guy Mike is watching this, I'm sure he's loving this as a Jags fan. I'm going to put him in A tier. I really think Trevor Lawrence is a stud. Is he better than Herbert? Fuck it. I'm putting him ahead of Herbert. They're neck and neck in my opinion. They're both extremely talented quarterbacks who are very good in my opinion. I know Dolphins fans hate Herbert and think he's trash, but Herbert is good. Say what you want about him. Next up is former Dolphin Ryan Tannehill, who is once again very serviceable. I honestly put him in the same tiers around the Jimmy G. He's not going to necessarily miss layups. He's very serviceable. He makes the throws you need him to make. Honestly, his recent problems have been injuries, but he plays at a very solid level. But it's hard for me to, once again, too, the situation around him isn't great. Playing for Tennessee, they're a very run-heavy team. Like, they don't do him favors, per se. So when they play a lot of two tight end sets where they're faking the play actions, he's left to limited abilities. He's not given as much freedom as some other quarterbacks. But I'm going to put him in B. I feel like he's similar to Jimmy G, and I feel like Jimmy G should almost be B tier, but I want to keep the depth. I feel like C is disrespectful. I wouldn't necessarily say they're C players, but I'm trying to keep it spread out. Next is Anthony Richardson, who at first I wasn't sure who it was because obviously he's recently drafted. I'm not super familiar with his face. He's a rookie, so I almost am just tempted to put all rookies in D tier. It's not really fair to rank them right now. But I'm going to put him in D tier because he's a rookie. With that said, I actually think Anthony Richardson is going to be very good. And I know he has been hit with like the project label, but based off what he's doing in OTAs, and I feel like the Colts are better than their record was. They had the season before, they had like 9 All-Pros. It was just the combination of injuries and coaching really failed them. And I think having this young talent of Anthony Richardson come back with hopefully their players getting healthy and better coaching, I really think he can start quick, but he's going to have some bumps and bruises to start off his career. But I still think he's he's going to blossom into a very good player. How long that takes will be seen. Next up is C.J. Stroud. Once again, rookie. I'm going to put him in the same tier. Once again, I'm an Ohio State fan, so I love C.J. Stroud. I think he's an absolute baller. Next up is the New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, and this is tough. I'm between S and A tier. 2 of the past 3 seasons, he's won MVP. He's coming off a down season. But you know what? It's Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to put him in S tier. One of the best quarterbacks of all time. Like I said, coming off a down season, but he's Aaron Rodgers, man. He's so good pre-snap and post-snap. He's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, one of the best throwers of all time. And he's going to a team that is better than the Packers team that he's coming off of, in terms of offense at least. Having Allen Lazard back with him, he's got Randall Cobb, but now he's got Garrett Wilson. He's got a good nucleus around him. So I think Aaron Rodgers will have some success. Next up is Mac Jones, who once again I'm going to put in this same C tier. And I'm going to put him behind Jimmy G in the C tier. Mac Jones, I think people shit on him a little too much. Once again, playing for the Patriots, he doesn't have a lot of opportunities. They're run heavy. They don't want their quarterbacks to make mistakes. He doesn't have the best playmakers. Like, he's done the best he could, in my opinion. Now, he's made some bad throws flat out. I'm not trying to say he's been perfect, but I think he gets a little too much flack. But once again, I don't think he's the best quarterback. He's pretty limited, in my opinion. Next on the list is Josh Allen, who we see twice a year, every year. I will say he's very turnover prone. I want that to be very known that he does turn over the ball a lot. Even if you think back to the first Dolphins game, he threw 5 balls that should have been intercepted that just bounced off our players' hands. With that said, I'm shitting on him, but Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in all football. He's so dynamic. He's very difficult to defend with his legs and his huge arm. And once again, aside from Stephon Diggs, he doesn't have the best offensive weapons, if we're being real. Gabe Davis is solid, but he's nothing, like, he's not a top 20 receiver. And their running game has never been that good. Like, it's a lot of Josh Allen. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is one of the best receivers in football, but Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks. I'm between S and A. I'm trying to figure out if I want to put a lot of quarterbacks in S tier. And I'm leaning towards no. I'm going to put him in A, and I might drop Aaron Rodgers down to A as well right there. That just feels a little more right to help keep balance in this list. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people in S tier. It might just be Mahomes. Next up is our QB1, Tua Tagovailoa. Now, I know which tier I'm putting him in. It's obviously S tier, without a doubt. He's the best quarterback in all of football. No, I'm joking. I know the whole Tua stuff. Actually, I was about to mention Tuanon. If you guys haven't been up to date on Dolphins Twitter, unfortunately, the person who was behind Tuanon and the whole Dolphins mask actually unfortunately passed away. So I want to take this time, and if you are on Twitter, go check out I think it's called the Gluminati or Tuanon. Find that GoFundMe. I'm going to try and link it in the description and the comments. If you have any leftover income, feel free to donate to it, or at least just spread awareness and drop a retweet or something. It mean a lot to, I'm sure, his family, and it's obviously very heartbreaking that he lost his life. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that. But I'm going to put Tua in A tier. Man, it's tough. Where do I put him? For the sake of this being a Dolphins video, I'm going to put him right here. But I think if I'm trying to be realistic, I'm putting him here. But for the love of the Dolphins and Tua, I'm putting him right there for the video. Next up is Joe Burrow, who's, once again, I think one of the best quarterbacks in all football. I'm very tempted to put him right here in S tier. I think Joe Burrow's phenomenal. He can make every throw. He's athletic. He's cerebral. I'm going to put him in A tier. I think I'm just going to have Mahomes in S tier because he's on another planet, in my opinion. Now we have this dog shit of a quarterback that Brian Flores wanted to trade for some reason. We're leaving him right there. Lamar Jackson is one of the best quarterbacks in all football. Man, Lamar Jackson's so tough because he's a unicorn. There's no other Lamar Jackson in all football unless Anthony Richardson turns into him. But fuck it. I'm putting him there. That feels right. Lamar Jackson, once again, his only issue is injuries because other than that, he's very good. Now, you want to say he's a running back, whatever, but his skill set allows him to take advantage of defenses in the passing game, and he's very unique and an absolute stud. Next up is Kenny Pickett from Ocean Township, which is near where I grew up. I'm tempted to put him ahead of Mac Jones. I feel like they're very neck and neck, so I'm going to put him right there. That feels right. Next up is Brock Purdy, which as soon as his first start was against the Dolphins, that man looked good. Like, I could tell off of that he was just dealing. And I think Brock Purdy's a very good quarterback. I'm going to put him high up in B tier. Genos. See, this feels so disrespectful to Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson had one down season. Other than that, he's like a top 10 quarterback. So I don't want to take this as shitting on Russell Wilson. It really isn't. And honestly, I'm taking back my whole, I'm ranking them within the tiers. It's too difficult. I'm not doing that right now. Geno Smith, I'm going to put hot. Once again, he's coming off one of the best quarterback seasons this past season, but his career backup, like, I'm putting him in B tier. I feel like that's fair. Comment down below what you agree and disagree with. This is very difficult, like very, very difficult. You guys might be able to nitpick and here and there, but man, this is tough. Next up, Kyler Murray. I'm a big fan of Kyler Murray. Like, I'd be very likely to put him there, but recency bias, I'm going to put him right here. Once again, I think Kyler Murray is a very good player. I think he's been limited offensively due to his scheme, but it's the same scheme he came from college. So I don't know if that's going to hinder his development, but he's obviously going to miss most of this upcoming season due to his torn ACL. So I'm a big believer in Kyler. I think he gets a lot of unnecessary shit and shit talked about him, but I honestly think he's a superstar in the making. Next up, Matt Stafford, which once again, recency bias tells you he hasn't been that good, but obviously he's won a Super Bowl recently. I'm going to put Matt Stafford in high B tier. This is recency bias. I think Matt Stafford, when fully healthy and with a good supporting cast, is a top 10 quarterback, but I'm kind of implementing a little bit of recency bias while also keeping in mind their overall picture, while also slightly being biased to Tua because he's one of my favorite players of all time. Next up is Derek Carr, which I think is a perfect photo for the C tier. But once again, like, this is so difficult. Like, the difference between, like, B and C tier is, like, nothing, in my opinion. Like, this is so difficult. Next up is Desmond Ridder, who hasn't played enough. I'm going to put him in D tier. Baker Mayfield, same thing. It's hard to rank Baker. He had a couple good games with the Rams. I'm going to put him in upper D tier. Bryce Young, we're going to keep him with the rookies. Daniel Jones, I'm going to put him upper C tier. I think he's very good. I'm interested to see what he does now with increased weapons. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about how good he did last year, and he did. But he also didn't necessarily take shots. And I don't know if it's necessarily because he was scared to, but I think it's just he was limited in what he had around them. So I'm excited to see what he does with players around him. Next up, Dak Prescott. I'm going to put him in B tier. Once again, this is so difficult, bro. Like, the difference between Stafford, all of these like, it's so paper thin. It's kind of dependent on any given year. Who's calling plays? What do they have around them? Who's healthy? This is difficult, man. I'm curious to see your guys' thoughts down below. Jalen Hurts, I'm putting him in A tier. One of my favorite quarterbacks in all football. I loved him coming out of the draft, and he's blossomed into a superstar. Obviously, coming off the Super Bowl loss. Sam Howell. Is this Sam Howell? I don't even know. I think it's Sam Howell. If we don't have enough intel on him, I'm going to put him in D tier. Kirk Cousins, I think, is actually underrated. I think Kirk Cousins is low-key an A tier quarterback. I really do. I know that might be a hot topic. Look how many good quarterbacks there are, and look how many of them are in the fucking AFC. AFC, NFC, and AFC, NFC, AFC. Like, this is bullshit. What the fuck? The Dolphins, the best the Dolphins have ever been, so is the rest of the AFC. This is really annoying. Like, the timing is not great. Jordan Love, we don't have enough information on. I actually think Jordan Love is going to be a very good quarterback. So I'm going to put him in upper C tier. I genuinely think Jordan Love's got a lot of potential, and he's going to prove that. Justin Fields didn't have a great season. He had a great rushing season, but throwing, he was horrible. But he also had horrible players around him. I think Justin Fields is going to continue to grow and develop, and we'll see where he ends up. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to put him right here in C tier. Once again, I think he's on an upward trajectory. This is not shitting on him. This is just me trying to place him in the tier where he currently is. Next up, Jared Goff, who's coming off a great season. I'm putting him in upper B tier. Right next to his buddy Matt Stafford, who he was traded for. This is my tier ranking video. this is the tiers. Let me know what you think about it. I feel like this puts it in a better graphic, unless I just completely ruined it. And I think I just completely ruined it. Wow. Please let me go back. Okay, beautiful. So comment down below. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And yeah, just want to hear your feedback. Check out the Dolphins Dive for the best Dolphins merch out there. Like and subscribe to help the channel grow. It means so much to me. And until next time, I'll catch y'all.